Hi, Professor. I am responding to week 6 of our journal video response. The question states, given the heightened tensions about immigrants coming from certain Middle Eastern countries, how might you best support students and families from Middle Eastern descent in our schools if they are from one of the banned countries? I actually have many friends that are Muslim from Iran, Iraq, etc. And then everything that's happening with Syria, it's really, political hot button or, issue to pay attention to. I did some research in regards to this question, and I really liked the Child Research Net. It's actually pertaining a lot to Asian American students, but there was a really interesting article regarding Muslim immigrant children in the United States and then suggestions for teachers. So I think it's important to understand, and kind of how we discussed in the module activity, the extra credit module activity, to understand the culture and to be culturally responsive as a teacher, and to kind of institute those principles and make the child feel comfortable in the classroom. It's important to understand where these students are coming from. So something that's very important to immigrant children with Muslim backgrounds, and this is not my personal opinion, this is through research, is family and community. So family is a very important social unit, especially an extended family. It's based on hierarchy determined by community. Family interests outweigh personal interests. So keeping in mind all of these things, understanding their way of life, and understanding, especially if we're talking about, these countries that are banned, oftentimes maybe due to, they have a different religion than us, especially if they're from the Middle East. So it's important to understand, how important Islam views religion. It's a comprehensive way of life. So to keep all of these things in mind, to kind of understand gender issues. So there's a serious difference between how they view men and women. Again, this is not my opinion. This is based on research. They're going to have different food and dietary practices as well, to kind of understand the religious faith and what is consumed by that, what goes into that, I think is all important to note. So as a teacher, what can you do with all of these tensions and everything that we're hearing about Syria and other countries? How are you going to support these students? Firstly, you need to be culturally responsive and understanding of what these children are coming from, their specific background. So that's number one. You need to be culturally sensitive to that. And you need to provide them with an environment that allots for learning, something that we discussed in the module. Again, this really directly correlates. How are you going to support a student like that? You have to create a structured and well-managed classroom. You have to provide a safe and nurturing environment, and also using evidence-based practices. This was stated also for low socioeconomic students, but for those students that we're discussing here as well. Students that are coming from a banned country, students that have factors or variables working against them. You need to provide those students with additional support, and you need to make sure that they feel comfortable in the environment. I would definitely reference this article. Again, the Child Research Net, it's a nonprofit, and I found a lot of very useful information on there. And definitely just being culturally following the news and being, up to date with cultural activity that's happening, and particularly not only at a micro level within your school, but also at the macroeconomic level of the United States and of the world, and how those issues, policies and politics are going to affect your students. CNBC actually had some good information on this as well, and the NCBI, there was a really interesting article. So I will email you some of the articles that I sourced for this, so you can, check them out. I think they would be useful for actually the rest of the students in the class as well. But mainly, I would state, again, being culturally aware and then providing the students with a structured and well-managed classroom. Thank you, Professor. I look forward to seeing you this weekend on Tuesday.